I'm going to tell you happened in about a second. It happened in about a second. He walked up to me, and I was just about to start talking, and his left hand shot out and got me by the throat. He grabbed me by the throat, and he chambered. Almost at the same moment, Bobby Damaris, our assistant engineer, who's this this guy this guy, he was, I don't know, he's 6'2", 6'3", maybe 6'4", I don't know. He's big. And he's got the body of a god, okay? Slim hip, broad shoulders, just beautiful. And he's got this Boston accent, classic. And the moment that guy's hand hit my neck, Bobby, who was right here and whose presence I was unaware of, his hand shot out and grabbed that guy by the neck and walked him back. So for me, that guy's hand was on my neck, off my neck. It was on and off. And he never got to fire that shot he had chambered. And so Bob was walking him back with his hand around his throat, and I heard him say with his Boston accent, "Nobody touches my bass player." Okay. So this created some hubbub, and now there was a cop there because it was around closing time, and this is the kind of place where, yeah, you better bring the cops over here at closing time. That's the kind of, see, that's what I mean, is that kind of place. So the cop comes over. He's a regular cop, uniform cop with a cop. And he came over and said, "What's going on?" And the guy's girlfriend, I mean the girlfriend's guy, the guy who wanted to punch me, said, "He hit my girlfriend." And I said, "No, I didn't hit her. I didn't hit, what happened was," and then the girl did that thing again. She did this long, sudden, piercing scream. And everybody stopped. She did this long scream, and she stopped. And the whole room was like, okay, so, like, what was that? And the cop looked at me and he said, "Look, you go in the dressing room and just wait there. I'm going to get their side of the story." Okay. So I went into the dressing room and I waited. So I was back in the dressing room by myself again. I waited, I don't know, 5 minutes, something like that. And then the cop came in and he said, "You're under arrest. You have the right to," and he went through the Miranda rights. And when he was done, he asked me if I wanted to make a statement. Now, there's this great book. There's this great book that I recommend that you read. It's called A Murder in Belmont, I think. It's by Sebastian Junger. It's about the Boston Strangler and about the story of the Boston Strangler. And it's just a great book. And one of the things that he talks about, if you've read Junger, this guy goes right to the heart of whatever he's covering. He finds out, he just tells the truth, the flat-out truth of things. And one of the things that rang true with me, especially after what had happened to me in Rhode Island, was he said, that's the whole thing, you're innocent until proven guilty. Yeah, which is good. That's good. Presumed innocent. Okay. But with the cops, the cops, he was saying that the cops know, and one of the things they know is when you read them their rights, and then ask them if they want to make a statement. If they're guilty, well, then they don't want to make a statement. If they did it, then they want to talk to their lawyer. They want their phone call. But if they're innocent, you couldn't shut them up if you wanted to. They can't wait to tell their story because they're innocent. They can't wait. They're jumping up and down. I gotta tell you, I didn't do. They want to tell you. They got nothing to hide because they don't want to be thought that they don't want to be falsely accused, or thought of. And that's a very simple thing that cops go by. I mean, it's not a perfect. The cops. It's not up to the cops who gets acquitted and who gets sent to jail. It's not up to them. But that's just something that goes on between cops, according to Younger in this book. Interesting thing. Well, I read that since this night, but it reminded me of this night because when he finished his statement, when he finished reading me the rights and then asked me if I wanted to make a statement, oh, yes, I did. Oh, yes, I did. I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait for him to finish reading me my Miranda rights because I couldn't wait to tell him. And I told him what I just told you. I told him the absolute truth. I told him about how I put my hands on her. I'm sorry about that. Spun her around. Gave her a little push. What I envisioned. What happened. And I was so sorry. I didn't mean for it to happen. I told the whole thing. And he said, okay, well, wait here. And he went out. So now I'm in the dressing room again. Still waiting. So I waited and waited. I don't know how long. 20 minutes. I waited. And it got kind of quiet out in the room. So I stuck my head out, and the room was just about empty. The band and the crew were, they were sitting around. The staff were cleaning up. There were two cops at the door. One of them was my cop. And I walked out and I walked around. And I walked over to the cops and I said, I walked up to my cop. He was in conversation with the other cop. They're both big. They like them big back east for cops. So I looked up at these guys, and I was 6 feet tall, was. I said, what's going on? What's happening? And the guy went. He broke away from his conversation. He looked at me and goes, "Oh, you're not under arrest anymore." He'd forgotten about me. He said, "Yeah, I kicked him out. She was a stupid girl, and she had no business being back there, and she got what she was asking for." He said that she was going to press charges or something like that, and she was demanding her rights, and that he, the cop, told her boyfriend to get her out of here, or he was going to arrest both of them. And he said that the boyfriend basically carried her away while she was flailing and screaming. So that's the story of how I was arrested in Rhode Island. And the epilogue is that after that night, the story kind of got around. And a couple weeks later, I had a gig with Parker Wheeler. He called me up for this blues party thing he does on Sunday nights up at the Grog in Newburyport. And I guess the news had already traveled up to the North Shore. And I was loading in, and Parker saw me. And he said, "Hey, Troy, yeah, you push any chicks lately?" So for a while there, he introduced me as the pusher. So for a while there, they called me John the Pusher Troy, the chick pusher. And that's my story.